What is going on, guys? We are officially starting on Viper V10 swapping my Nissan 370z. In case you don't know, here is the car. Cooper's moving Corey's truck out of the way, and then we are going to be pulling this in the shop, pulling the VQ out and cutting a bunch of stuff and getting the motor fitted in there. So let's get started on it. All right, so we got my car in here, got the hood off, which is right there. It's gonna get a giant hole cut in it, obviously. But I forgot we were gonna weigh the car first. So we're gonna be able to see the current weight and the current weight balance before we put a massive engine up here, put the radiator in the back, and whatever else I'm gonna do. So let's get the weight and then go from there.
So it's like...
Here we can see obviously my corner weights are a little bit off, but not actually that terrible. But we got 917 and 813 front weights on the front corners, and then 620, 671 on the rear corners, 30, 21 total. And let's see if we go. I don't totally know how to use this. I should read the instructions. Okay, this is the weight distribution actually. 50, wow, my weight distribution is horrible. It's 57.3 front and 42.7 rear. It's worse than his, and it's worse than his 280ZX. How is it our...
With no hood too.
Oh, and the hood's off. How is it so bad?
Wait, that means, wait.
It's already really bad, and it's gonna get worse.
I have a solution though. We wall off the back, 415 subs, 3 amps, extra batteries.
So this is not what I was hoping for. This is not the best thing I've ever heard.
We'll be right back.
All right, so now we're halfway into ripping the motor out. We realized we didn't have clearance on the downpipe, or I knew we didn't, but Corey didn't.
I didn't.
So now we're gonna pull the steering shaft because that kind of needs to come off anyways when we're trying to fit the bigger Viper motor in here. So not the biggest deal, it's just kind of an annoyance.
It's already done.
But that's out of the way now, so
that should be enough.
I think the motor will slide right out. And then we'll be able to take some measurements and see what kind of room we got. And I will probably use my new 3D scanner, scan the engine bay, and see, just kind of see what we have to work with. First test fit, sort of. This is the first test fit. We are going to have to do some oil pan clearancing because that's kind of what we're stuck on right now. But I just decided to stop here just to see what clearances we have. Obviously, I can see we're going to hit this relatively soon, and then this side's actually got a ton of clearance at the moment. We're also a little bit cocked sideways, so we're going to do this, kind of eyeball what we need to clear preliminarily, and then kind of go from there. The engine's way too far forward, and
it's like hanging off the front right there.
Yeah, it's like, it's like sitting in where the radiator is, but
then again, you do have all that
where the radiator was, but right, yeah, we have a ton of space to go back without even cutting into the firewall. So I'm going to take some measurements and see where that'll put us before we even put the motor in the firewall. And then I will have to do something about these heater lines because I want to keep heat, but they're going to contact the back of the heads like right away. So we'll have to do something about those, but not a big deal. We'll get it all figured out. So yeah, we're gonna look around and see what we're stuck on. So I just had Corey do some preliminary cutting for me. We're still gonna do a lot more cleanup and final cutting. Stuff like this, there's a little pinch weld there. So I don't know if I'm gonna just cut the pinch weld all the way off and just weld the seam. Same with stuff down here. Got a little valley there and a lot of like nasty stuff in here that I kind of want to cut away just so it doesn't cause problems later. Like this rusty thing from the battery tray. Hey, wait, I also just realized this will help with the weight distribution problem because we were front heavy and now we have less metal. So now we're going to try to fit this thing in here again, and then once we can go most of the way back, I will mark where we can notch the oil pan, and we might do a notch like that goes up, boom, and then down, so we could still get a little sump back there and then also have the sump up front. And we're gonna have to see where the pickup tube is, because I think the pickup tube's somewhere in this area right in the middle. So if we have to relocate it, we will. Not a big deal. But I also want to make sure I have enough oil capacity for this massive 8.3 liter V10. So I might add some little extra sumps on the side or whatever I have to do. But we'll figure that out when we get there. And now we are in the super annoying process of pulling the motor out, putting it back in, pulling it out, putting it back in. Right now we moved the motor back a bit, because you can see that we are not clearing this wall that we used to be clearing, and it actually used to come out quite a bit further. So that's pretty good. We are hitting the trans tunnel there. So now what we got to do is lower the engine down, and that'll help our center of gravity, and it will also help with trans tunnel clearance, hood and front end clearance, because I don't want all this ugly stuff sticking out of the hood. I really just want the intake manifold sticking out. So if we can shift everything back and down, hopefully we can just get the intake manifold out and get it kind of looking like Corey's car.
Yeah. Slot on YouTube.
Oh yeah, just aluminum shavings.
No
big deal.
We're giving each other dementia. I told him if we snort it, it'll give us dementia.
Oh, I don't think that's against YouTube's policy. No, I'm okay. I'm going to get dementia from it anyways.
Oh, okay.
And another good thing is currently we already have these 2 cylinders and those 2 cylinders all the way behind the strut towers. And from the factory, the middle cylinder was lined up with the strut tower somehow because of all the stuff that was on the factory engine. So I'll be happy if I can get this lined up with this, or if we can get the cylinders behind that at all. Actually, we got about 4 fingers to go back. So it looks like we might be able to get this just in front of that, which is pretty cool, because that puts a lot of the weight on the front wheels and the rear wheels, along with a really heavy transmission. And then this weight will only be on the front wheels. Yeah, the further back we can get it, the better our weight distribution will be, and I'll be happy, and hopefully the car doesn't drive like shit.
So Matt, what are you doing now?
Hitting myself in the leg with a hammer.
Yeah?
And when I'm not doing that, I'm hitting my car with a hammer.
Nice. That's how you do it, boys. Oh, let me see it. Oh, that's a tattoo. I thought that was the bruise. I was like, yo, that's a really cool bruise.
Thanks, I did it myself.
Nice. So yeah, the engine's back out. Matt's hitting himself with a hammer, and they're here. All right, it's gonna go back in.
So now we got a little bit more stuff cut out. We finished cutting out this little shelf here. All this will also probably get trimmed away completely and spot welds removed. But we were able to push it back further after clearing the trans tunnel, and currently I think we have clearance up there. I want to come back maybe another inch, but right now we are lined up 3rd cylinder with the strut tower, so that's good. And then even this one's close, and this is the further forward cylinder head, so that's pretty good. Front clearance looks all right. It looks like all this junk will be inside under the hood, which is important because that's ugly. So now I think we're going to see if we can hammer it a little bit more and get a little bit further back, and then we'll go from there. Oh, then also I did not mention we did have to cut the oil pan, which is these chunks right here, and that's just to help it clear around the front subframe. We're gonna have to do a little bit more cutting and then weld in some plates to fill it back in, but not too bad. Didn't really have to take too much meat out of there, so it's not going to lower the oil capacity, and I can kind of make that back up with some little side tanks or something like that. So we got this. So motor's basically sitting in there. We do need to do a little bit more clearancing, and then we can start to mount it. We're also going to get started on the rear section with the rear radiator and the battery relocation and all that, and a bunch of other stuff. So stay tuned. We're going to be posting a lot more videos, so hopefully we have a lot of updates for you every couple days, whenever we're working on this, of course. And thanks for watching.